Council Tuesday, July 26th. Please stand for our invocation led by Reverend Bryant Pugh, Outbreak Christian Center, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Bow our heads. Father, we thank you today. We thank you for this day and an opportunity to gather and reason together. God, we thank you for each and every individual that is the representation of this city. We ask that you cover and keep them, God, as they make the decisions that affect so many. Father, we also ask you to cover and protect our city, as we know we have obstacles that come against us so great. Lastly, Father, we ask that you be in everything that is said and done on today, so that our actions and our decisions will reflect your will and not our own. We thank you and we praise you in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Roll call. President Small.
Here.
Vice President Gregory. Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll. Councilmember Reynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Jones. Statement of rules.
And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's good to see everybody on this fine Tuesday morning. Welcome to our weekly meeting. At this meeting, we do have rules. At this time, I ask if anyone has any type of electronic device, please put on the off or the vibrating position. The off or the vibrating position. Any person desiring to address the council must sign in, indicating the resolution, the ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, the speaker must state his or her name and address. Any person desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk office no later than 2:00 p.m. the third shift prior to the council meeting. The subject that he or she wishes to address must be identified and pertain to the city of Mobile business. Any person who has not given proper notice to the city clerk office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item will not be allowed to address this council. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. 1 minute remains, but summarizing the second bell indicates the time has expired. When addressing the council, there will be no undue applause, no personal address to any individual council members. All statements are to be made to the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. And again, to maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and a public outcry allowed. Madam City Clerk.
Approval of minutes of July 19th.
So moved. Second. Been properly moved and second. In the discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Communications from the mayor's office.
On behalf of Mayor Sandy Stimson, I bring greetings from the mayor and his administration. We have a couple of proclamations, and we'll start with Director Batiste on Youth Violence Prevention Week and a new announcement or program announcement that he has.
Council Presidents and other members of the council, I have a proclamation that I'll read first. This proclamation says, whereas early identification and intervention and prevention, suppression, strategic planning, and the use of cutting-edge technology and collaborative efforts across the community with organizations like Project Thrive and Gulf Coast Technology Center, the issue of youth violence is addressed in a comprehensive manner with proven outcomes of success. And whereas enhancing communication, problem solving, conflict resolution, and management, empathy, impulse control, and emotional regulation and management with programs such as Facing Forward and You Still Have a Choice can help you increase the self-awareness, accuracy, and understanding social situations, ability to avoid risky situations and behaviors, and capacity to resolve conflict without violence. And whereas the Community Days events, the The promotion of positive family environments throughout a child's development is connected to caregivers' knowledge about healthy and age-appropriate child development, as well as the ways of families communicate, manage behavior, and resolve conflict. From this come proven results of promoting family environments that support healthy development. Now, therefore, William S. Stimson, Mayor of the City of Mobile, do hereby proclaim July 24th through July 30th, 22, as Youth Violence Prevention Week in the City of Mobile, signed by Mayor William S. Stimson. Hold on. Also, I'd like to acknowledge on today, you noticed that there are a number of police officers and firefighters standing in solidarity. I put before you a flyer on your desk talking about the Brothers in Blue campaign. This campaign was birthed out of the Mobile Fire Rescue Department, and I am certainly glad as the Public Safety Director to have an opportunity to show the solidarity between police and fire. Right now we'll have Joshua Jones, who will speak a little bit, followed by Mr. Trenier.
Good morning, Council, Public Safety Director, Chief of Staff, other city officials. First off, I want to thank you. I want to offer my sincerest gratitude for this proclamation. You know, when I got here, one of the things we set forth initially was a strategic plan. Part of that strategic plan was ways that we could address the youth violence that was coming forth in our city. And one of the primary ways that we want to do that is by reshaping what community looks like here in the city of Mobile, and placing the unity back in unity. That's what we saw from the community days. That's what we saw from the Unity Point events. And that's what you'll see all week for Youth Violence Prevention Week. But also another part of that is connecting youth who we identify to be at risk for violence in the city, to be at risk to be victims of violence in the city. We want to connect them to positive individuals. And so when we speak of Brothers in Blue, these are individuals who are committed to service in our city, who are committed to giving all that they have to mentor the next generation and ensure that they have the right tools and the skills to not be victims or perpetrators of crime going forward. So without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Trenier to speak a little bit about Brothers in Blue.
Ladies and gentlemen of the City Council and Director Batiste, thank you for having us this morning. It is not a secret that we have a gun violence problem in the city of Mobile. It is something as first responders we're forced to deal with on a daily basis. Kids are picking up guns and killing kids, and it has gone on long enough. Ladies and gentlemen, the first responders standing in front of you today have decided we're going to do something about it. The result of which is Brothers in Blue. Brothers in Blue is a mentor program that will rely on first responders to directly influence at-risk youth. Many of our kids have so much potential. They just need a positive role model to help them unleash it. Brothers in Blue will be a crossover program between Mobile Fire, Police, and Sheriff's Department in hopes to combat gun violence in the city of Mobile by providing positive role models in the form of first responders. Brothers in Blue will be an opportunity for firefighters and police to interact with at-risk youth and directly influence our community through compassion and mentoring. I truly believe that if every first responder participating in this program positively affects at least one child, we can grow Brothers in Blue into something truly special and finally do something about gun violence in the city of Mobile. Thank you. I would also like to add that through Brothers in Blue, all three departments, we've managed to come up with 31 volunteer mentors for these kids. Give these guys a round of applause.
I would like to say to Director Batiste and to Officer Jones, the community is really watching. I had an opportunity to speak to some older citizens on yesterday, and it was talk about the impact that the Mobile Police Department is putting into the youth and all that they're doing, showing that they care and trying to show that they're trying to stop, and curb down the violence here in the city of Mobile. So everything that you all are doing you might not just hear it, but citizens are watching, and they really do appreciate it. And I do myself do appreciate it also, even beginning from Sunday, from having the press service to tomorrow when Mr. Gregory gonna be out there, jumping in a sack, at at Sage Park. But again, we do appreciate it, and again, citizens are watching, and the citizens are really do appreciate you, that the officers are being involved in the good thing with the youth, not just something bad, and they're working with the youth with a good thing and a good atmosphere. Again, I do appreciate it, and also the citizens that I represent, we do appreciate it too.
And Mr. Chair, if I might, before you all leave, I want to add my thanks as well for everything that you're doing. It is a monumental task. And I've had the opportunity to meet with Josh individually with some members of my community to ask him, what we can do to help. So I'm on board working with you, Josh, and everyone here. And I'm just so pleased by this Brothers in Blue. I think it is a terrific opportunity for everyone, for you all to be mentors, and for these youngsters to learn from you and to see what you do on the job. I think it's just a great thing for everybody involved. And thank you for putting this program together. And Chief, certainly to you, thank you for doing that. But the community week this week is going to be awesome. We had our first day yesterday in Hillsdale, and the weather didn't necessarily cooperate, but that didn't stop anybody. Josh's knees may never recover from all of the running around that he did and dancing, but we had a lot of community support, some sponsorships, things were provided at no cost, and it's because people just wanted to be involved. So thank you again, and I don't know about a three-legged race or a whatever Mr. Small was trying to say that I was going to be in, but maybe some kickball, something like that. We'll all be out there to participate and help provide our support. So thank you for doing all this.
Mr. President,
Mr. Penn.
again, I would like to join in with my colleagues. Thank Director Batiste as well as Officer Jones. I had an opportunity to attend all the dates in District 1 at Figures Park, then the prayer service, downtown Mobile. It was just amazing. I'm hearing a lot of great things from the community. They're saying, man, it's so active. They're seeing people out playing basketball. We're doing a lot of things, and that's what it's all about. So, again, I want to say thank you, and I support 100%. I do have a question. How I see it says sign up today. As parents, would they reach out? How would kids get involved in the mentoring program with Brothers in Blue?
So going forward, we will have correspondence from whether it's through the social media platforms, and we will provide other ways that parents can reach out if they're interested in going forward. We have our first batch of individuals that we will be going forward with mentoring with the pilot, which we're referring to as the pilot for the first 6 months of the year. And then we will open it up at the end of that mentoring period for more. And that's really depending on how many people we can have more involved.
So at this moment, it's full to
Yes, sir.
6 months. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just let us know when we can put this in our newsletters and
Yes,
try to
ma'am.
recruit some more.
Without a doubt. Yes,
Mr. President,
Mr. Carroll.
Josh, how old are the kids?
sir.
How old are the kids?
So the ages will range from 12 to 17.
12 to 17, and a 6-month program, you said?
Yes, sir. Right now, it's just a 6-month pilot. We have the youth for.
What about, and this is just a thought that we can talk about later, but what about the kid that's 12 years old that'll be here through high school? I mean, he's going to need an arm to lean on for a while, and I don't know if the program will have a different phase once they get to high school or something like that, and that's something we can think about. You guys have you have my full support, so let's just continue to move forward. The other thing is I suggest that we join forces in some things and combine resources to where we can support each other in different types of venues. As you probably know, I've talked to you about some ideas that I've had, and we've started some things that I think will be supportive of what you guys are doing if we can do them in conjunction. The 31 volunteers, that's absolutely awesome. I don't even think Big Brothers has 30, Big Brothers Big Sisters has 31 mentors at this time, and it's just a good thing to do. Again, one last request though. I was told that the kickball rules tomorrow. said that you have to catch the ball and you have to physically tag the person with the ball in your hand to get them out or touch the base.
Okay.
Now, the kickball rules I remember don't work like that.
See,
No throwing the ball.
see, the issue is now we're way older than what we were then, you know, and so.
Well, those kids are a whole lot younger than we are,
Indeed,
too.
indeed,
So I'm pretty
indeed.
sure they're going to be beaming us. So I'd like to beam back. That's all I'm saying. With no intentions of hurting anyone, especially if I got to play, because I can't run as far as I used to.
Definitely, definitely.
So if you would, just consider that one rule change for tomorrow's kickball game.
Yes, sir. Indeed, indeed. We'll take it in consideration.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Y'all take it.
Thank you all so much.
The second proclamation we'll call Director Don Rose down. This will be in reference to ADA, Americans with Disability Act anniversary.
Good morning, Council President Small,
Morning.
Vice President Gregory, Council. This is our annual reminder of the value and dignity of all people, but especially persons with disabilities. Here today to represent that community, Sister Lucinda Cleghorn from the Mobile Advisory Commission of the Disabled, Jim Flora from the Independent Living Center, Turk Schlesinger, who's the CEO of Alta Point Health, is back here, and April Douglas, the Director of Public Relations from Alta Point Health. I'll read the mayor's proclamation. Whereas on July 26, 1990, President George H.W. Bush signed into law the Americans with Disability Act, the ADA, to ensure the civil rights of people with disabilities and eliminate discrimination against them. And whereas the ADA has expanded opportunities for Americans with disabilities by reducing barriers and changing perceptions and increasing full participation in community life, which has motivated the city to continue our efforts to fully implement the ADA. And whereas throughout the year and on the anniversary of the ADA, we celebrate and recognize the progress that has been made by reaffirming the principles of equality and inclusion and recommitting our efforts to reach full ADA compliance. Now, therefore, I, William S. Stimson, the 108th Mayor of the City of Mobile, Alabama, do by officially recognize July 26, 2022, the 32nd anniversary of the Americans with Disability Act as ADA Awareness Day in the City of Mobile. Signed, Mayor William S. Stimson. If you don't mind, they could say a few words.
Good morning. I'm Jim Flora from the Independent Living Center. Mr. Rose, City Council. On behalf of the Independent Living Center of Mobile, I would like to thank you and Mayor Sandy Stimson for this recognition of the Americans with Disabilities Act and the opportunity to speak to you today. Our Executive Director, Dr. Eric Peoples, asked me to extend his greetings and appreciation. He is representing us today at the National Council for Independent Living in Washington, D.C. On July 26th, as Don said, 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law. Today we celebrate the 32nd anniversary of that signing. The ADA, as you may well know, provides guidelines and protections for some 60 million people in the United States who have disabilities. And to be more fully included in all the activities of their community. The ADA assures rights of people with disabilities in the areas of employment, public services provided by the state and local governments, public accommodations and services operated by private entities, telecommunications, and various miscellaneous areas such as construction and design regulations. The ADA has opened many doors to people with disabilities and provided many supports and accommodations that have made participation in community life more readily accessible. The mission of the Independent Living Center, where I work, is to foster and promote programs which empower persons with disabilities to attain their maximum degree of independence while providing them with education, advocacy, and protection of their personal rights. We are glad to support and be a part of the activities of the Mobile Advisory Commission for the Disabled, whose members are appointed by the mayor and the city council. We celebrate our partnership with the city of Mobile in fostering compliance with the ADA. The commission's resolve provides a framework for retaining the progress that we've made and approaching any new areas of challenge. Mr. Don Rose, our city's ADA coordinator, we appreciate your support and participation in the activities of the commission. We also appreciate the support of our county commission, who recognized the ADA yesterday at their meeting with a resolution. I would like to thank agencies and organizations serving people with disabilities who have supplied brochures and souvenirs displayed in the lobby. Please take some of them. And these include AltaPoint Health Systems, and we're very happy that the executive director of AltaPoint, Mr. Turk Schlesinger, and Ms. Douglas of their staff are present today. Others include, check out the brochures, NAMI, which is a support organization for family and friends of people with mental illness, United Cerebral Palsy, Volunteers of America, Mobile Fair Housing Office, and we have brochures, of course, from the Independent Living Center of Mobile. I would like to thank Ms. Carmel Alvis, a member of the Advisory Commission, for making the nice sign displayed by the table. And I would like to give a special thanks to Mike Courtney, who is the chair of the Advisory Commission, who's not here today, but who has kept the commission together during the pandemic and brought the commission now back to meeting each month at the Mobile Chamber of Commerce. This time, I would like to introduce Sister Lucinda Claghorn, a member of the commission, to share some of her thoughts on this occasion.
President Small, members of the council, the Americans with Disability Act is the Civil Rights Act for those of us with disabilities. Just as the black civil rights had a struggle, we've had a struggle. And the signing of the Americans with Disability Act was the beginning that those of us with disabilities could take our rightful place in the community and live as productive citizens. I am grateful to the City Council for recognizing this day and honoring it. I wish to honor all of those who have lived with disabilities and who are not with us today, who have made the sacrifices to get where we are now. And for that, I am grateful. I am grateful to AltaPoint. I too have a disability. I have paranoid schizophrenia. And AltaPoint has been treating me for 51 years. So Turk knows me well. He knows all my little tricks, so I can't hide anything. But with AltaPoint and the ADA and serving on the Mobile Advisory Commission for the Disabled, which I thank Councilman Carroll for appointing me, is an opportunity for me to give back and show my appreciation to the community, to each of you, that those of us with disabilities can live productive lives and be productive members of this community. For that, I thank you.
Thank you.
As Sister sometimes says, we raised her, and it's been a privilege to actually be her provider. And thank you, City Council and staff, for all of that you do for AltaPoint. And on behalf of our 1,800 employees, we appreciate the trust that you have in us. We appreciate the partnership that we have with law enforcement, with Metro Jail, with all of the different parts that you all run. We certainly appreciate our partnership that we have with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Carroll.
if I could just chime in just for a second, I'd like to make a recommendation to the council about an individual, if possible. Sister Lucinda was first appointed by me in my first term, which was somewhere between 2005 and before I left in 12. With her staunch support and service to the board. She was reappointed by Councilman Manzi while he was here. She's up for reappointment now, and I plan to reappoint her, but being that they serve at the discretion of the council, there was no reason to write it and just say, okay, I'll put you back on. I was just going to let you stay there, sister. So that's why it didn't matter if you asked me. I just said I didn't take you off, so that just meant you were going to stay. I can't afford to let you go anywhere. But for the council to know, there's another individual in the audience tonight that has the same type of desire to serve and would like an appointment to the board, but she's in my district. But there may be some open spots on the board of directors. She's sitting up top to our left. Her name is Addie. Addie, raise your hand. And she has the knowledge, the background, the desire, and the fortitude to serve in the same abilities that sister did. So if any of you have a place or a use on this board where your appointees are either rotated off or are open, please consider letting her have that appointment. Mr. President, thank you for the time.
Next, we'll have Executive Director Joe Snowden to recognize Employee of the Month from Administrative Services.
Well, good morning, City Council. It's good to be here again. We have another Employee of the Month from Animal Services. As you know, that we're transforming the way we do business down there and the way we communicate with the community. And part of that is bringing on some great new energy and people to help us with that mission. And today I'd like to introduce, we have Anthony Mosley. He's our Employee of the Month for Administrative Services from Animal Services. And I'd like to have Jen Green, who's been assisting with this transition, to speak a little bit about him.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. It is a pleasure for me to give this award to Anthony. He came on in March of 2022 in a new position for City of Mobile Animal Services of dispatcher. It has been critical to us. It helps us communicate with citizens, PD, the Sheriff's Office, back to 311, to Marla when we have issues. Anytime you get an email response from me when you have a question that involves a little bit of research, it's Anthony that is helping me provide that information. So it's really been a critical position to help us improve our services, and he's done a great job. He is kind, helpful, always ready to assist me. So we are just so glad to have him, and we're glad to have people like him on our team so we can better support the city. So we are grateful to him.
Well, I'm not done yet. Let me have the Executive Director of Public Works, Deputy Executive Director of Public Works, Shonda Smith, to introduce the Parks and Rec Teen Mentors.
Good morning. I will be brief, but I wanted the opportunity to share some new things that's happening in Parks and Recreation. Summer of 2019, we had our YES interns, and we wanted to engage those teens to figure out what's happening in the city and what we can do better. As a result, those group of teens actually planned the first teen night we had at Dodge Community Center. We had 300 kids show up. They were able to play 3-on-3 basketball. They did DJ. They did cooking classes. They did sewing classes. They did makeup classes. Everything you could think of, and it was all set up by the teens. We got ready to set up another one, and a football game dismantled us because we learned football Fridays are important. And as a result, and then we got ready to kick off, and then COVID happened. During COVID time, we also did a small open and DIP for Newhouse Community Center. We turned it into a teen center. We get about 25 to 30 teens daily that come by there and participate in the programming. As a result, we knew that there was a need to do more engagement throughout the city. So then we received some support and funds, and we hired our two teen mentors that I have behind me, Andrea Mantilla and Elon Carter. They just started probably about a month ago, but we are on a full dash. So their responsibility is engaging the teens. We had a meeting last week with Baptiste, with Josh Jones, with Chief Prine and Curtis Graves to roll out our plan for the year of what it looks like for engagement. So one of the first programs is starting on August 5th. We're starting an event on the first and third Fridays called Fifth Quarter. And it is like the after event to the football games, which is like what I described for the team night that will happen on those Fridays, to start getting them in and engaging them and finding out what they need to actually provide those services. And we will be rolling that out as a full plan probably next week. But I wanted the opportunity for you all to see them and know them, working very closely with Josh and his team to get that supportive engagement. But I wanted you all to know before it hits the street what's coming. For anybody who's interested in volunteering and supporting those initiatives on Thursday at 6 o'clock. Oh, no, this is for the. So on Thursday at 6 o'clock at Seals Community Center, we will be hosting a partnership meeting for anyone who wants to participate in helping the teen programs that we're doing. And that's 6 o'clock at the Seals Community Center. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for all that information. We're looking forward to seeing that program roll out. Again, congratulations on your position also. Ms. Smith, I think Mr. Carroll had a question.
Fifth quarter, is that the 28th or is that the
5th? The 5th is the first one. So it starts the 5th, which will become the first and the third Friday.
The partnering meeting.
Oh, Thursday.
This Thursday, 28th.
You get this coming now, the invitation, the paperwork.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Penn.
I want to thank Chandra Smith for everything that you're doing. I love the color of the flyer. It's orange and green. But thank you so much. Y'all doing a wonderful job. I'm excited. I'm definitely going to stop by there. That's in District 1. And so, again, thank you. And I look forward to all the work that you all will accomplish.
President Small, that will conclude Mayor Stimson's announcements.
Ms. Gregory?
Well, good morning again, everyone. I know you see a really good-looking group of youngsters sitting to my left in the red and blue uniforms. This is the team from Municipal Park, and I just want to congratulate them on what they have achieved, but I do want to get one of the coaches, if you would come down. This is a very special group of 10-year-olds from Municipal Park. They recently represented the city of Mobile at the Dixie Youth Baseball State Tournament that was in Troy. And they had a terrific tournament because they were undefeated going into these championship games, and they lasted almost 3 hours, but they beat the team from Enterprise to claim the Alabama Dixie Youth Baseball 3A State Championship. And as champions, they will represent Mobile and the state of Alabama at the Dixie Youth Baseball World Series in Lumberton, North Carolina. These young men and their coaches and all of their families are just terrific ambassadors for our city. So I would like to ask you all to please join me in congratulating them and wishing them good luck, great luck, when you play next month. If I could have you all please stand, the coaches and all our team. They've already received their certificates, but I want to introduce everyone, if you would, Coach. Introduce yourself and all the coaches, and then your team, if you would.
First of all, thank you very much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here in front of everybody. I was hoping for a bigger crowd, but I'll introduce you. My name is I'm Coach David Fromdahl. That's Coach Lewis Howell on the far end, Coach Justin Baldwin, Phillips Metter, Mac McClure, William Nettles, Benjamin Meek, Buck Baker, Declan Baldwin, Monroe Howell, Jude Wheeler, Chase Weaver, Murphy Fromdahl, Aiden Eager, and Griffin Ledyard.
So tell me what it was like going through all of this and a 3-hour game to get to this point.
At this particular time, when all of these boys participated at Municipal Park on different park teams. So then we had the tough decision of coming up with 12 boys to make an all-star team. These were the 12 that were chosen, and the 3 coaches that are here today with you. We knew we had a special group going in. We didn't know it was this special, but we had an idea about it, and we've been hard at it for 6 weeks up to the tournament in Troy, and the boys performed at a very high level. And I mean, at any particular point in time during the week that we were there, the games were not really that close. The district tournament that we played down here, we walked through it pretty well. And the games leading up to the championship game, I would say we walked through there as well as we did in the district tournament here. Now, the championship game was a little bit special. We decided as a group, and the other 2 coaches, we decided we were going to give everybody a little bit of free baseball. So instead of a 6-inning game, we decided to play 9. We didn't charge anybody any extra. We didn't make you leave the park and come back. But we gave them 9 innings and a real baseball game, and we ended up pulling it out 7-6. So, Ms. Gina, on behalf of my staff and the 12 players we have behind you, we'd like to give you this for your appreciation.
What I'd really like to do is get all of the fellas to come down here and stand in front of our desk, and we can get a picture with the council, if that's possible. And I don't want to forget all the parents and family who are here. Would y'all please stand as well so we can recognize you?
Mr. President, I'm jealous. Fromdog never gave me a plaque before. Yeah, but I've coached beside him, man. Craziness. Hey, what's up? So there's no more games after this? Y'all ready?
center. And yeah. Yeah, congratulations, guys.
And y'all, please keep us posted on how it goes in North Carolina. Thank you for coming. I've already contributed a little, but if anybody's got any extra funding, they are raising funds for this trip. So all of you council members that may have some discretionary funds available, I'm sure they would be more than happy to get a check from you.
Clerk.
Monthly finance report.
Well, yeah, I've learned one thing since I've been here now. You know, at this stage of the agenda, by the time I get up here, we've gone from about 75% full down to about 10%. So shows you what I have to say. Good morning, Mr. President and members of the council. I just want to give you all an update on how we have done through the first 9 months of the year. We'll start with the month of June. June was a slightly break even, a little less than break even. Our sales taxes came in at about $16.2 million for the month. We had budgeted 17.3, so just slightly over $1 million less than budget. Year to date, though, our sales tax were still about $10 million ahead of plan, and it looks like we'll still come in the year with a positive variance to our sales tax. Total revenue for the month was $21.3 million. Our budget was $22. So we were slightly under our budget for total taxes by about $670,000. But year to date, we're about $18.6 million ahead of budget. And I'm expecting that we will continue to come in on a positive basis. I think, other taxes, just that bear mentioning, our hotel room taxes have been pretty good this year, and our business license taxes have been pretty good. Between the two, we're a couple $1 million ahead of plan, and that's been a nice highlight for us this year. As far as our cost sections go, we're just going over the big ones. Public safety, the trend continues to be the same. We've been working pretty much on the basis of a positive variance to the budget all year. Public safety so far this year is about $5.5 million better than budget, meaning they're underspending their budget. Public Works is about $4.8 million better than budget, which means they're also underspending. Got to give credit to Jim DeLapp and Lawrence for that, and expect a continuation of that through the end of the year. And then overall, cost centers were about $16.7 million better than expectations. We can sit here, I guess, and debate whether or not we're underspending or we should be spending more. But I think there are different variances and different reasons for how we perform, and I think we've talked about this before too. People is a big factor, and whether they're on our staff or whether they're not on their staff, that sometimes makes it a little bit difficult to keep up. But I think overall, the bulk of the work that we indicated that we were going to do is being met, and be able to come in with a budget is a positive sign. Overall, right now at the end of the month, we have a budget surplus of about $132 million. That would be much higher had we not moved the $30 million out of the budget, out of the surplus for the airport. and about 16 million a couple months ago for other projects that we had talked about. So I think we're still in pretty healthy shape. If you take out the 47 or 2-month contingency, we're at about $85 million right now in our surplus that we can use.
Does that include the 11.5 million that was given to the council as?
Yes.
So
yeah.
Okay, and has that 11.5 million been spent or solidly budgeted yet?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The 11.5, is it solidly budgeted yet,
Yes,
or is it still?
We've taken it out of the surplus.
So okay, so it's minus. Be 85. Okay, thanks.
Okay, and then just in general, I think there's a lot of stuff going on in the news today about the state of the economy. Not in any way going to try and sugarcoat it. It is what it is. We had a decline in GDP in the first quarter. By the end of this week, we'll know what the preliminary outcome will be for the second quarter. Some people predict that it'll be positive. Some people predict it'll be negative. If it's negative, then some people will say we're in a recession. It kind of depends on which statistics you use. But nevertheless, we're not in the same kind of an environment we were in last year. So as we get ready for the budget, which we'll be presenting to you guys in the next 30 days or so, we're looking real hard at what next year is going to look like.
Mr. President, I have one last question.
Hello, Mr. Carroll. Then finish. Go ahead and finish.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting, as I've talked to you all before, we have an organization within the state called the Big Ten, and trying to kind of gauge, how we're thinking versus how they're thinking. There's a mix of different opinions about there. We've got one city that is looking to grow significantly next year, their budget. We've got another that's taking a significant reduction next year. But by and large, most of them are looking at maybe a break even, a rollover type budget from the previous year, or maybe a slight budget increase of about 2%. So we're going to continue to look at that closely as the weeks progress. I'm kind of waiting to see how the July numbers turn out. Right now, preliminarily, the July numbers look pretty good, at least from a sales tax perspective. Usually about the 20th of the month, we get a preliminary indication from the state what our sales tax is going to be, and that looked pretty good at that point in time, better than it did the previous month. So we're still going to take this case by case, and we're just going to have to watch it. And I think, for all intents and purposes, next year we will be watching things pretty close, because I think we're moving into a different environment than we had for the last couple of years. That's it. Any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Days, then Mr. Carroll.
Mr. Holt, one data point that would be helpful to me is, in addition to providing the monthly and year-to-date, and this is just with respect to the general fund, the monthly and year-to-date numbers in comparison to budget, if you could provide those numbers in comparison to the previous year, I think that'd be helpful to kind of let us see how we're trending against the previous year.
Okay. And it's sometimes a little bit difficult to do that, and I'll tell you why. I can show you how our performance has been every month, but our surplus, if that's what you're asking about.
No. I'm just talking about the income and the expense.
Oh, the income. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm not just the income and expense numbers overall in the general fund.
Okay.
The month compared to same month previous year, and the year to date compared to previous year.
I can do that. Yeah. Sure.
Mr. Carroll.
I may have done a little bit of math wrong or forgotten something, but at last check we had 111 million in surplus, less 11.5.
I could go through every month with you.
Well, no, I was just talking about the surplus that was after. I think the last time we talked, we had $111 million in excess revenue. That was actually our fund balance, or whatever we've been calling it, or our reserve balance.
Is that before the 2 months of?
I think you just told me we were 132 before the 2 months, correct?
Yeah, I can tell you that for the last several months, it has gone down. and
What?
it's gone down for two reasons, and to the point where today it is $85 million after, not counting the 2 months of contingency that we keep in there. So,
Well, if we have money in hand, why would it go down unless we budget it out? So that's what I was trying to.
it goes down. The main reason that it's been going down is twofold. For losses, we had a loss in June. Okay, we had a loss in April. We had a loss in March, and we've also moved about $16 million out of the fund into the general fund, and we moved 30 out at the beginning of the year. So between all those things, that takes us down to a surplus after the 2-month contingency to $85 million.
All right, the 16 number you just hit on the head. When I'm doing the math over here, what was the six? Why did we move the 16 out of the reserve into the general? I can't remember.
There were multiple projects that we had talked with all of y'all about a little bit, and I'll get you the list if you like.
It just explains the gap in my math.
Hold on, Mr. Carroll. Please, audience, this is a meeting. Yeah, to see if you can speak up, but please, the ones that's out there talking, please cease your talking at this time, please.
That just explained the gap in my math where I didn't remember those projects that were specific that came out of the fund balance.
If you like, I'll give you
I'll go back and look them up. You don't have to do that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Council. Thank you so much, Mr.
Okay, thank you.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Been properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda's adopted.
Appeals, we have requests for waiver of the noise ordinance on August the 6th in Cooper Riverside Park and August 27th in Cooper Riverside Park.
So moved.
Second. Been properly moved and second in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Bill passes.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Patty Naylor.
Good morning. I really didn't want to come here today, but I'm really glad I did. That was good stuff. Thank you. You have a flyer, and I'm not going to bore you with the details, but I'm sorry. This is Patty Naylor, 3817 Shelley Drive. It's about drainage on Shelley Drive, specifically 3817, and I'm not going to read off what I've written down here. I appreciate Public Works and Engineering. They've come out and helped me with the property, but it's not fixed. And what they have done just kind of redirected the water. So when it was resurfaced, the whole point is it was resurfaced several years ago, and the wings in front of this particular property and the adjacent property are lower. You see the water jump those wings. And it's happening on both sides of the house, and one is going directly underneath the house, and it's very worrisome. If you look at the large picture that I have there, that's what Public Works fixed for us and fixed that portion of the asphalt. But if you could imagine that hole under the house at the foundation, I think you'd understand why I would be really nervous about the water situation. So the reason I'm here today is if there's another, I know that's right of way, I'm assuming, right along the edge of the road, so I can't do anything about it, even if I had an asphalt truck. So if there's another avenue that I can go, I would appreciate someone helping me out. My email is on file. I see some people on the street have the cross ties. Someone told me that's illegal now. I just need to do something to save the property because the topsoil's gone. The backyard, there's no grass. It's completely washed out. And that didn't happen before the resurfacing. So that's why I'm here today. I appreciate your time.
Mr. Reynolds or Chief Barber, would you?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Reynolds.
This is a known issue, one that I'm aware of, and one apparently the city is is aware of, and looks like some solutions were put forward, but really seem inadequate at this point. And, you know, it appears that the city may be exposed here in some sort of way where we need to find some long-term solution that this doesn't grow into a bigger problem than what it is today.
And it's not just, I'm concerned with 3817, but there are other yards that are flooded. I don't know if it's due to the wing issue. I don't watch their property. But the house beside me, that's the water that's coming, and through no fault of theirs.
This looks like a county maintained road or county standard road with these wings on the side of it. And, you know, I'd have to defer to the administration to talk through some solutions here, but I agree with you. This is a problem that
Thank you.
appears this is the city's water that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, and actually the irony is that the culvert is right past 3817. Most of it never makes it to the culvert. It comes into that yard. I appreciate your time. Good stuff today.
So I'll say two things. First and foremost, we don't address these issues in this forum. There's another process for it. And just understand that Mr. President, it preceded Mr. Reynolds being here, but we've stated this a number of times. There's no such thing as city water. We only have water that comes down from the God Almighty and moss. That's it. No such thing as city water in city terms. So we are addressing this issue. We do not know the derivative or direct cause right now, but as far as this forum, this is not where we handle those situations.
Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll.
Question if Mr. Reynolds doesn't mind. Director, is it not common building code practice not to allow stormwater runoff to proceed from one property to another? And also, is it not standard practice for stormwater not to run from the street onto a residential property?
So the answer to both of those questions is in the affirmative. However, we're also dealing with multiple dealings at the same time, meaning you have construction that is being typically, and it's not, not talking about this issue specifically. Typically, we're only building in the right of way, not dealing with private property. So if water is running from one property owner's property to another, that is not a city issue. And so you have to make that determination first.
But if water is running from the road to the private property, and then you would make an assumption that there's an elevation requirement needed by the city to prevent that.
We make no assumptions.
Okay. I'm just making that, let me go on the record and make that clear. You don't build a road where water goes on private property.
Well, thank you.
One more comment here, Mr. President. This seems like it could be resolved. And I know that, you know, all of our folks with the city don't want our roads being undermined, and then also our residents' property or rights of way being undermined. This has been apparently going on for some time, and it looks like the solutions that were put forward were somewhat half measures, maybe. I would like to work with the administration to try to figure out a long-term solution for this so that this resident can be secure in knowing that, you know, the city she lives in is going to be looking out for their best interests as well.
Madam Clerk.
Reverend Bobby Brown.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Reverend Bobby Brown. I reside at 3651 Winlock Court, and I'm here once again to speak on redistricting and the proposed annexation. The city of Mobile has yet to be honest in dealing with the redistricting and annexation as it pertains to a certain segment of the Mobile population, especially the minority population. Now, it is a fact that we aren't out of the gloomy past that we find ourselves living in the old Mobile politics. Mobile's elected leadership cannot understand the dehumanizing action that they have taken. We come with legitimate grievances, and it's overlooked, discounted, and dismissed, which suggests that we are overreacting and that we should move on and forget the wounds of the past and be happy with a one Mobile. I say to all of you that until there is an honest dialogue in addressing the grievances and concerns, that there will never be a one Mobile. It's like telling a Native American to forget the Trail of Tears, or do you train people to forget Russia invasion? In 2 weeks from today, this city council will vote on redistricting proposals. You will vote to adopt either the community proposal map, which is deeply compromised, or the mayor's proposed map, or neither. In that case, the mayor's proposal will go into effect. Will history record that there's a one Mobile vote or an old Mobile politics vote? Thank you for your concern.
Thank you.
Reggie Hill.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. And this will there'll be one more time that I'll present on this matter before I send the formal response. Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street. Greetings to all the citizens and stakeholders of Mobile. Well done is better than well said. Pardoning the bad is ignoring the good. And that's Benjamin Franklin, 1737 and 1748, respectively. Today, he was made the first Postmaster General of our country in 1775, so I thought it was befitting for us to mention something that he said, and I come here to post myself. Pertaining specifically to Zogby, public safety, and taxpayer resources, these are the components in which I will be focusing on primarily as it relates to this request for an investigation. Because of time restraints, which we all know about, I'm going to speak just very briefly on the Zogby portion and reserve the rest for next week. Just remember, you're stewards of taxpayer dollars. And a prelude to what I'm going to speak on next week. People who look like me and stand up to the corrupt acts of people in position of power, we don't have any representation. So the idea of us having to come and fight for certain things, it makes no sense. We're fighting day in and day out with no results. But let's move to this public safety piece, which I think is extremely important right now. And before I say this, I want to make very clear for my respect and regard for Director Batiste and Chief Prime. Much like any business, as you leaders know, you have people you have to answer to. So there are cowardice and foolish acts before you that prevent you from making the necessary decisions. We can't expect anything to actually improve. We can't. We're going to say that these people who are doing the worst acts in our community, we're going to just volunteer to go and participate with activities from the police. All this stuff we got planned this week, there's not one programmatic piece that's actually going to prevent crime. This is an abuse of power. You utilize something to propel yourself, but we're not solving the issues. Ma'am, may my time be stopped, please? I think Mr. Davis had a statement.
Mr. Hill, just stick to your subject.
That is the subject. We're talking about abuse of power, correct? We're talking about the idea that I'm requesting this investigation into it. We're using our taxpayer resources. I'm getting to that next. Taxpayer resources next. For public safety, that is very important. That's the primary responsibility of government officials. Please tell me if I'm wrong here. And I'm responding to this, so I'm hoping that my time is not. These are the things that I'm saying. Your rules are superseding the rights of citizens. This is not personal. This is the business. Quit taking this stuff personal. If that is the case, you should not be in this position. We're talking about the business of the city, the production of the city, enduring this progress. I'll skip to and save it to the later part. Taxpayer resources. We have the budget that's coming up. We have not seen anything new with performance contracts. I'm hoping that we're going to see that because the people that we have been outsourcing monies to have not been yielding the results of what we need. As well with the ARP funding. We have an opportunity to really revisit projects that would improve the quality of life, particularly for those who are less fortunate. We need to do that. What we've seen now does not reflect proper leadership, sir. Does not reflect the use of power in a manner that is conducive to all citizens. Again, this is not personal. People are hurting. Maybe y'all don't have the understanding of it because you've never had to deal with those things in life. Maybe there are certain privileges that you have above other people. But people are suffering. So I know my time was not fully allotted, but we'll be back next week. Thank you for yielding the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Mr. Day.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Days.
I, for one, my patience is exhausted with having to sit up here every week and being accused by Mr. Hill of all sorts of perfidy without any facts to back it up whatsoever. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Resolutions held over. 08598, approved purchase order to Dana Safety Supply.
So moved.
No, it's the layover 1 week.
Oh.
Second.
Well, I think Ben had a motion on the floor that was so moved. Did it die for a second? Lack of a
I'll
second?
withdraw my motion.
Thank you. Motion to lay over 1 week.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item laid over 1 week.
03608, approve appointments of new directors of Improvement District McGowan Park Project.
Move to lay over 2 weeks.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item laid over 2 weeks.
08609, approve purchase order to Vertiv Corp. For annual maintenance service for power supply and cooling systems for MIT. 08610, approve purchase order to send some equipment for a vacuum truck for Public Works. 21611, authorized contract of Hagen Storm Fence Mobile for fence installation at Brooklyn by the Bay. 47613, assent to the vacation of and consider a fee for the vacation of a portion of Virginia Street near the APMT container terminal.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Consent resolutions being introduced 09619 through 03639.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of these resolutions.
So, second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Rules suspended.
09619, reallocate monies from District 2 discretionary funds to Mobile Police Department to assist with costs for a youth fishing trip. 60620, approve award a special bonus to the Administrative Services Employee of the Month. 60621, 622, and 623 are determining appropriations to Congress Street Partners doing business as Kensington Health and Rehabilitation Center, Westside Athletic Association of Mobile, and Historic Mobile Preservation Society serve a public purpose and approving payment. 03639, appoint Bryant Pleasant Jr. to the Mobile City County Youth Council.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Penn.
I'm excited to have Brian Pleasant Jr. Would you stand? He's going to be my appointment to the Mobile City Council, Youth Council. Graduate me, a student at LaFleur High School. So we're excited to have you as my appointment.
Also, I would like to talk about 09-619. Councilman Penn and myself had an opportunity to join Councilman Carroll, which he put up this money for, parts of the money for, and also with our director, Baptiste. for this past Saturday. Had an opportunity to take some kids out deep sea fishing, kids throughout the city of Mobile and Pritchard, and to try to give them a different look of life. There's something else out there more than just what's in the immediate neighborhood. The kids had the opportunity to go out and had a great time. And I also like to thank Ms. Baptiste for making those delicious sandwiches. I haven't had one of those in a long time. But again, it was a great outing for the youth and looking to work with my counterparts and also with Director Baptiste and the police department to do more good things in the city of Mobile to show off youth. There's more out there just trouble. There's good things out there to work for. Any other discussion?
Oh, Mr. President, I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't say anything about the trip and the ideas behind it. But for our youth, it's all about exposure. And a lot of times, some of our youth don't get a chance to see that there's a different life out there and other possibilities and things that they can do. Today, I was glad to see the mentoring program from the men in blue, or those of us that are in blue, start. And I'm even more excited because over the coming year, I plan to really be involved as far as providing a way for different exposure for at-risk kids in our community. And knowing that this mentoring program is out there, I'm going to be looking to even more so partner with the mentoring program with kids that are at risk, as opposed to trying to do projects that are parallel to it. And I think we can do a whole lot more to make it better for our community and for kids in our community that need to see us and be involved with us to where we can affect lives. Appreciate each and every one of you for going. I know for some of you it was a bumpy ride, but we did catch some fish. But we were only able to keep just one fish. But the event was the most important, being able to communicate with the kids, talk to the kids, learn about them and how they're living and what we could do to best affect their lives. Thank you all for allowing me to spend this money on this. And I look forward to partnering with more of my council members and also the Mobile Police Department and Fire Department to see these types of programs move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Another discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
Resolutions being introduced 01624 through 60636.
Per council rules, these resolutions will be laid over for 1 week with the exceptions of 21-634 and 23-635.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. In discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Madam Clerk.
21634, authorized contract with T Construction Systems for re-roofing of Fire Station Number 17, $78,060, 23,635. Accept these for rights of way for the McGregor Avenue widening project, Airport Boulevard to Dolphin Street.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Call for public hearings. 41637, call for public hearing to consider approval of a certificate of public convenience and necessity to Medevac Alabama, Inc. to operate an ambulance service scheduled August the 9th. 41638, call for public hearing to rezone property located at 4119, 4161, 4173, and 4175 Halls Mill Road from R1B3 and I1 to I1, scheduled August the 23rd.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is called.
Announcements.
Do you have anything from the administration? Councilman Carroll? District 2?
No, sir.
Councilman Davis, District 5?
Yes, sir. I'd like to announce that the Finance Committee of the City Council will meet August 9th in our 9th floor conference room to receive an update from the administration on city rolling stock replacement and funding and the funding process. This will be a working session and no public comment will be taken. The Finance Committee will also meet on August 30th in order to review the proposed fiscal 2023 budget with the Finance Director and other members of the administration. This will also be a working session and no public comment will be taken. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dave. District 4, Councilman Reynolds.
No announcements.
District 1, Councilman Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. On this Saturday in District 1 at the Building 505, we will have a back to school giveaway. The start time will be at 1 p.m. So we're inviting everybody out in District 1 to come out, as well as on August the 1st, we'll have our 4th annual back to school bash at Figures Park from 1 to 5 p.m. And then, of course, we're inviting everybody out tomorrow to Sage Park for the Celebrity Fun Day. Start time will be at 5:30 to 7:30. And then, as well as on next week, we will have our 5th quarter Friday, August the 5th, at Figures Park for teens 13 to 19 from 9 p.m. to midnight. Come out and let's have a great time in District 1. And then on August the 9th, I will have my community meeting at the Dodge Community Center in the Trenton Garden Community starting at 6 p.m. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Penn. District 7, Vice President Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. President. I mentioned earlier that we held the Youth Violence Prevention Community Day at the Hillsdale Recreation Center yesterday. And while the weather didn't necessarily cooperate, it was still a really great time and a great event for all of the kids to participate and be with a lot of our community leaders. I want to say a special thank you to the newly opened Piggly Wiggly on Moffett Road. They provided the food as well as brought out the pig, and he is always in high demand for photo ops. He's really pretty funny looking. So just thank you to them, also to Smith Memorial AME for sponsoring the Bouncy House, and also to the Gulf Coast Black Journalists Association and other friends for sponsoring the water slide. We had a great turnout from the fire department, the police department, and other volunteers in organizations who were just interested and wanted to be there to help, especially the Kingdom Covenant group with Carrie Coates. So a special shout out to them. One last announcement, I will be holding a District 7 community meeting this coming Thursday at the Mobile Museum of Art. As always, we will have a number of speakers from the administration to provide updated information on projects and issues facing the city. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Gregory. And as stated before, I'm looking forward to being a part of the Celebrity Fun Day on tomorrow at Sage Park. Many citizens had asked about the District 3 back to school rally and jam. Decided not to have it this year because so many is going on throughout the city. One thing I have realized since I've been doing it on council, that some of the people is almost like a recycle. They go to this back to school, they go to that back to school, and actually the ones that need it is they're not able to have transportation to get to those rallies. So what my office decided to do this year is going to contact the schools in my district, District 3, and we are going to go ahead and make a donation towards the school for the homeless students. Unfortunately, in Mobile County, we have a high population of homeless students in the Mobile County public school system. And pretty much that's going to be the best way in reaching those ones that really need those items and uniforms. And again, looking to finish contacting those principals this week, so we can make sure that our kids have a great school year, all of our kids. Anything else from this council?
Motion to adjourn.
Been properly moved second in the discussion. All in favor? All opposed?